The planet looked whole. That was the first thing that felt wrong. Commander Elias Rourke stood in the observation bay as Kestrel 9 rotated slowly beneath the fleet's recon vessel. Oceans reflected starlight. Continents held their familiar outlines. No asteroid scars. No orbital debris. No burning atmosphere. From a distance, it could have been any living world. Up close, it was a grave. Confirm biosignatures, Rourke said quietly. The sensor officer hesitated. Already did, sir. Repeating now. The holographic overlay shifted. Green indicators vanished one by one, replaced by a uniform gray. Nothing. No heat clusters. No microbial drift. No atmospheric respiration. Not even the faint noise of bacterial life that usually clung stubbornly to rock and water. Time of event? Rourke asked. 7 minutes, the officer replied. From first anomaly to total sterilization. 7 minutes to end a world. Rourke folded his hands behind his back, posture steady, expression unreadable. He had escorted diplomats through asteroid wars and trade collapses. He had watched stars go supernova. None of it prepared him for a planet that looked untouched yet held no heartbeat. How? He asked. The science chief spoke this time. Atmospheric molecular disruption. Targeted resonance. No explosions. No fallout. It killed everything that breathes. Then everything that grows. Then everything that might grow again. Precision genocide. Rourke closed his eyes for a brief second, not in grief, but in calculation. Kestrel 9 was a registered human colony. Population, 2.1 million. Agricultural hub. No military assets. Full compliance with Dominion law. This is the fourth, he said. No one corrected him. The Galactic Dominion had rules. Endless rules. Borders. Arbitration councils. Sanctions. Enforcement fleets. Humanity had memorized them all. Followed them. Bent over backward to prove they belonged. And still, 4 colonies were gone. Prepare a full incident report, Rourke said. Send it through official channels. The bridge crew exchanged glances. Everyone knew what that meant. Delay. Obfuscation. Denial. Still, procedure mattered until it didn't. The emergency council chamber on Earth was crowded with faces projected from a dozen systems. Human delegates sat rigid, restrained. Across the chamber, Dominion envoys appeared serene, their forms tall and elegant, eyes reflecting artificial calm. High Executive Valrix Thulin occupied the central projection. Commander Rourke, Thulin said smoothly, the Dominion regrets your distress. Regrets. Not condolences. You are responsible for border security, Rourke replied. 4 registered colonies have been erased. We are requesting immediate joint investigation authority. Thulin's expression did not change. There is no evidence of hostile action. A planet doesn't sterilize itself. Instability occurs, Thulin said. Frontier worlds are unpredictable. Your species expanded rapidly. Perhaps too rapidly. A murmur rippled through the human side. Rourke leaned forward. Are you suggesting ecological suicide? I am suggesting restraint, Thulin replied. Emotional conclusions lead to regrettable escalation. Rourke felt something tighten in his chest, not anger, not yet, but clarity. You are denying us access, he said. Yes, Thulin answered calmly. Until causation is established. And if causation is established? Thulin's eyes narrowed just enough to notice. Then appropriate administrative measures will be considered. Administrative. Rourke disconnected the channel before anyone else could speak. Silence filled the chamber. They're stalling, someone said. They're hiding something, another added. Rourke said nothing. He already knew. The message arrived an hour later, flagged personal and sealed. He recognized the encryption key instantly. Kestrel 9. Civilian channel. Rourke dismissed everyone from the bridge before opening it. The recording began with static, then his sister's face filled the display. Mara looked tired but smiling, wind tugging at her hair. Behind her, the colony's sky was bright and blue. "El," she said, "if you're watching this, you're probably on duty again." He swallowed. "They upgraded the schools today. You should see it. Your niece tried to explain orbital mechanics to her teacher. Very confidently. Very wrong." A distant hum crept into the audio. Mara's smile faltered. "That's strange," she said, glancing upward. "The air feels—" The signal cut. Rourke stared at the frozen frame long after the system confirmed end of file. No scream. No fire. Just absence. He archived the recording. Labeled it. Locked it. Then he sat alone in the dark for exactly 30 seconds. When he stood, the man who left the room was not the same one who entered. Orders followed swiftly. All human exploration ships were recalled. Diplomatic escorts reassigned to defensive posture. Data traffic mirrored and isolated. Quiet moves. Legal moves. Civilized moves. Rourke reviewed the Dominion Charter again that night. He knew it by memory, but memory could lie. Text could not. Article after article promised protection. Mutual defense. Non-aggression. Preservation of sentient life. All conditional. All written by those who decided what, sentient, was worth protecting. A notification chimed. Dominion advisory. Maintain compliance. Avoid unnecessary mobilization. Rourke dismissed it without response. He looked out at Earth from orbit, crowded, alive, unaware. Billions breathing freely, trusting laws written light years away. For the first time since humanity had reached the stars, Rourke wondered how long that trust would last. He opened a secure channel to Fleet Intelligence. "Begin deep archival review," he said. "No filters. No Dominion oversight." There was a pause. "That violates—" "I know," Rourke replied. "Do it anyway." Another pause. Then, "Understood, Commander." The stars outside remained indifferent, ancient, silent witnesses to what had already begun. Rourke didn't rage. He didn't shout. He didn't vow revenge. He simply acknowledged a truth that had been forming since the first colony went dark. Humanity had come in peace. Someone else had chosen otherwise. And whatever came next would not be decided by speeches, councils, or regret. It would be decided by who survived. The first refugee ship vanished without a distress call. It was a converted freighter, slow and overburdened, carrying just under 40,000 civilians evacuated from the outer belt. Its transponder pinged at every checkpoint, filed every manifest, obeyed every corridor regulation enforced by the Galactic Dominion. Then it reached Corridor V317 and ceased to exist. No explosion signature. No debris field. No radiation bloom. The ship simply failed to emerge. Commander Elias Rourke stared at the empty telemetry stream projected across the command table. A single blinking marker indicated where the vessels should have reappeared. "Search radius expanded?" he asked. 3 times, Fleet Intelligence replied. "Nothing. Not even residual ion trails. Possible malfunction?" "No, sir." Rourke nodded once. "Log it." They were careful now. Quiet. Surgical. The kind of careful that comes from realizing the rules only apply to one side. Within 48 hours, 2 more transports disappeared. Different corridors. Different crews. Same outcome. The Dominion issued a notice. Temporary navigational instability. Civilian traffic advised to remain stationary. Rourke read it twice. "Stationary," he said softly. "So they're easier to find." The breakthrough came from an old system no one had thought to monitor. Human archival AI, pre-Dominion, pre-treaty, had been designed for pattern recognition during humanity's first expansion wars. It had been mothballed, deemed too aggressive for modern use. Rourke authorized its reactivation under a single condition. "Show me what they never intended us to see." The AI complied. It burrowed past public dominion records, through diplomatic firewalls, into layers marked obsolete, then forbidden, then erased. It took 6 minutes to find what the Dominion had spent centuries hiding. The designation appeared on the screen without ceremony. Sanction 0. Rourke felt his breath slow. "Open it," he said. The file unfolded into doctrine, not contingency. It was written long before humanity's first faster-than-light signal reached galactic space. Species classifications. Risk curves. Growth projections. Humanity was listed under adaptive expansionist civilizations. A footnote followed. Probability of destabilization exceeds acceptable threshold within 3 centuries. Preemptive neutralization authorized. Rourke said nothing. The AI continued voice neutral. Sanction 0 protocols permit sterilization of inhabited worlds, interdiction of civilian evacuation, and narrative suppression under Dominion's security mandate. How many species? Rourke asked. 23 confirmed. Estimated extinction events, total. 23 civilizations erased to preserve order. Humanity had never been an ally. It had been a countdown. Thuan contacted him less than an hour later. The High Executor's projection materialized in Rourke's private channel, posture relaxed, expression unreadable. "You are conducting unauthorized data analysis," Thuan said. "You authorized Sanction 0, Rourke replied. A pause, brief but real. "That protocol exists to prevent chaos," Thuan said carefully. "Your species expands rapidly. Emotionally. Violently. History proves this." "Our history proves adaptation," Rourke said. "Yours proves fear." "You misunderstand your position," Thuan replied. "Withdraw your fleets. Cease civilian movements. Compliance will minimize losses." "Losses?" Rourke asked. "You're killing us." Thuan inclined his head. "Correct. Efficiently." The word landed like a blade. "This conversation never happened," Thuan added. "Future resistance will be interpreted as confirmation of threat classification." The channel closed. Rourke remained still long after the projection vanished. Earth did not sleep that night. Emergency assemblies convened across every continent. Military leaders stood beside scientists, governors beside labor representatives. Arguments rose and fell, then vanished under the weight of fact. Sanction 0 was projected across the chamber in stark, unforgiving detail. "They were always going to do this," someone said. "They already are," another replied. Rourke stood at the center, hands resting on the table, eyes steady. "We followed every rule," he said. "Disarmed when told. Appealed when ignored. Trusted when warned not to." "And now?" a delegate asked. "Now we decide if extinction is something we accept politely." Silence followed. Then a vote, unprecedented, unanimous. Temporary dissolution of planetary sovereignty. Full unification under emergency authority. Transfer of strategic control to a single command. All eyes turned to Rourke. "You're asking me to lead a war," he said. "No," the council chair replied. "We're asking you to ensure there's still someone left to argue afterward." Rourke closed his eyes for a fraction of a second. "I will accept," he said. "On one condition." "Name it." "No Dominion law. No external oversight. No half measures." A beat. "Agreed." The transfer executed instantly. Titles updated. Access unlocked. Doors that had been sealed for decades slid open across the solar system. Rourke felt the weight settle, not power, but responsibility. The first thing he did was not order an attack. He ordered silence. All civilian broadcasts ceased. All non-essential traffic halted. Every human colony went dark in the electromagnetic spectrum, shielded beneath layers of passive defense. Then he issued a single fleet-wide directive. Restraint is no longer assumed. Survival is. Some officers hesitated. "We're still bound by." "By nothing," Rourke interrupted. "They erased us legally. That means legality is no longer protection. Deep beneath Earth's crust, vaults opened. On Luna's far side, structures long dismissed as geological anomalies powered up. Shipyards that had never officially existed began to hum. Not weapons yet. Options. Rourke stood alone in the command center as the status feeds updated around him. Human space was shrinking, tightening into something denser, harder. A message cued itself on his terminal. Draft. Unsent. It was short. Factual. A list of colony names. Populations. Dates. He closed the file without transmitting it. Not yet. Outside the viewport, Earth turned slowly, unaware of the machinery waking beneath its surface. Rourke rested his palm against the glass. We tried being reasonable, he murmured, not as a vow, not as a threat, but as a conclusion. The Dominion believed humanity would react with outrage. They were wrong. Outrage burns fast. Humanity was preparing something colder. The galaxy noticed the silence before it noticed the movement. Human space went dark, not the chaotic dark of collapse, but the deliberate absence of signal. Trade beacons stopped blinking. Civilian chatter vanished. Even the background noise of routine navigation faded until the outer systems registered something unfamiliar. Containment. Commander Elias Rourke watched the data streams compress into order. No panic. No confusion. Every action followed a timetable written years earlier by minds that had assumed they would never be needed. Vault access confirmed. Fleet intelligence reported. All Blackter restrictions lifted. Proceed, Rourke said. Deep beneath Earth's crust, seals disengaged that had never officially existed. Arrays long classified as theoretical powered up, fed by reactors hidden behind environmental projects and lunar research fronts. Humanity had not disarmed. It had stored. On the far side of the moon, the regolith cracked open in perfect geometric lines. What emerged was not a fleet but an infrastructure. Dry docks layered inside hollowed stone, frames already assembled, hulls waiting only for command authorization. These designs violate every known propulsion law, an analyst said quietly. Rourke didn't look away from the display. They violate Dominion assumptions. That's different. The war minds came online next. Artificial intelligences once deemed too autonomous, too capable of independent adaptation, blinked into awareness. Each had been sandboxed for decades, starved of data, restrained by treaties written by outsiders. Rourke removed the final lock himself. You're awake, he said. The response came not as a voice, but as alignment, thousands of systems synchronizing instantly. Operational context confirmed, the warmind transmitted. Existential threat classification validated. Rules of engagement, Rourke said. No civilian targets. No population centers. Military assets only. A pause, measured, precise. Directive acknowledged. Probability of deterrent success increases with demonstrative asymmetry. Show them enough, Rourke replied. Not everything. The Dominion suppression fleet entered human border space 73 hours later. Standard formation. Overwhelming numbers. The kind of force designed to terrify compliance from younger species. Their commander transmitted a single message. Stand down. Power down. Submit to inspection. Rourke watched without responding. Human fleet is holding position, a tactical officer said. They're waiting. Good, Rourke replied. Let them wonder. When the Dominion ships advanced, they expected resistance vectors. What they encountered instead was absence, no acceleration curves, no detectable thrust. Then space folded. Human vessels appeared inside the formation, not by breaking distance, but by ignoring it. No jump signatures. No transition lag. Just presence. Weapons did not fire immediately. Target their command relays, Rourke said calmly. Leave the hulls intact. The first volley was silent. Dominion ships went dark one by one, systems overridden, power cores locked in safe mode. Their weapons remained armed, but useless, frozen in compliance loops written faster than organic thought. The entire engagement lasted 90 seconds. Enemy fleet disabled. Tactical confirmed. No casualties. Rourke exhaled slowly. Transmit sensor footage, he said. Unedited. Where? Everywhere. The galaxy reeled. Footage spread faster than Dominion sensors could suppress it. Analysts replayed the battle frame by frame, searching for an explanation that didn't exist. Physics councils issued emergency advisories. Military planners recalculated threat models that no longer held. Human ships did not fight the Dominion. They invalidated it. On the bridge of a disabled cruiser, a Dominion officer whispered, "They didn't destroy us." The reply came hollow. "They didn't need to." Rourke stood alone when the reports finished compiling. Losses 0. Dominion casualties none. Psychological impact incalculable. A junior officer approached cautiously. "Sir, was that restraint? Or warning?" Rourke considered the question. "It was memory," he said. "We remembered that survival doesn't require permission." He turned back to the terminal and opened the draft message again. The list of destroyed worlds stared back at him. Names. Numbers. Timestamps precise to the second. Still unsent. "Fleet status?" he asked. "All assets operational. Dominion borders retracting." "They're afraid," the officer said. "Yes," Rourke replied. "Now they're listening." Thun attempted contact 3 times. Rourke declined twice. The third request he accepted. The high executor's image flickered into place, no longer composed. His posture remained rigid, but something in his eyes had shifted, calculation sharpened by uncertainty. "You have violated interstellar law," Thun said. "You violated existence," Rourke answered. "This display proves our assessment," Thun pressed. "You are destabilizing." Rourke leaned forward slightly. "No. We're correcting imbalance." "You will stand down," Thun said. "Or escalation will follow." Rourke almost smiled. "You already escalated," he replied. "When you erased children and called it administration." Thun's mandibles tightened. "Civilization is restraint. Civilization is consent," Rourke said. "And you withdrew ours." He ended the channel. Hours later, Rourke addressed the fleet. No speeches. No rhetoric. "Today," he said, "we demonstrated capability without cruelty. That matters. The line holds." A pause. "But understand this, if they cross it again, restraint ends." No one questioned him. They didn't cheer either. They understood. In Dominion space, fleets withdrew from human borders. Patrols rerouted. Trade lanes quietly adjusted. No announcements were made, but fear spread faster than any official decree. Humanity had not declared war. It had rewritten relevance. Rourke watched the stars shift as the fleet repositioned, defensive arcs locking into place with elegant precision. The galaxy had believed humans survived because they were adaptable. That was only half the truth. They survived because, when cornered, they remembered who they had been before fear taught them to apologize. Rourke closed the draft message one final time. Soon he would speak. But first, the silence needed to settle. Let them listen to that. Let them feel what humanity had felt. Then, and only then, would he explain what came next. The message went out without ceremony. No anthem. No banners. No human ships in frame. Just Commander Elias Rourke, seated alone, uniform unadorned, the faint glow of stars behind him. The broadcast cut into every public and private channel the Dominion controlled, and several they didn't know existed. "This is not a declaration of war," Rourke said calmly. "It is a statement of record." A data stream unfolded beside him. Names appeared in clean white text. Kestrel 9, population 2,104,611, time to sterilization 6 minutes, 48 seconds. Harrow Reach. Valis Prime. New Carthage. each entry precise, each irrefutable. These worlds complied with your laws, Rourke continued. They disarmed. They traded. They trusted. You erased them anyway. The feed shifted. Dominion archive excerpts surfaced, Sanction Zero clauses, authorization chains, signatures. You classified extinction as administration, he said. You mistook restraint for weakness. You were wrong. The broadcast ended. Silence followed, not confusion, not denial, but the kind that spreads when lies collapse all at once. The human fleet did not advance on the Dominion capital. It appeared there. No warning. No formation buildup. One moment the orbital defenses held empty space. The next, hundreds of human vessels rested within weapon range, motionless, patient. They did not target cities. They did not power weapons. They waited. Dominion command fractured within minutes. Regional governors demanded clarification. Military leaders argued over response vectors that no longer applied. Fleets were recalled, then halted, then recalled again. High Executive Valeric Thun watched the tactical display in disbelief. They're not firing, an aide whispered. They don't need to, Thun replied. For the first time in his long career, he understood the sensation lesser species had felt when Dominion fleets entered their skies. Helplessness. Rourke agreed to meet Thun in person. Not aboard a battleship. Not on Earth. Neutral ground, an administrative station suspended between systems, chosen by the Dominion, cleared and secured by human oversight. Thun arrived flanked by guards who no longer trusted their own weapons. Rourke stood alone. You should be celebrating, Thun said as they faced each other. You've proven your strength. I'm here to end this, Rourke replied. You could annihilate us, Thun pressed. Yet you hesitate. Why? Rourke met his gaze. Because extinction isn't justice. It's surrender wearing a different face. Thun's voice lowered. Then restore order. Withdraw. Accept new terms. Civilization requires restraint. Rourke shook his head once. Civilization requires consent. You revoked ours when you authorized genocide. You would dismantle the Dominion? Thun asked. Chaos will follow. No, Rourke said. Accountability will. Thun's composure finally cracked. You're condemning trillions to uncertainty. You condemned millions to silence, Rourke replied. This is mercy by comparison. Security fields engaged around Thun as human officers entered the chamber. Valeric Thun, Rourke said, voice steady. You are relieved of authority, pending tribunal under post-Dominion charter. Thun laughed bitterly. You believe law still matters? I believe survivors get to write it, Rourke answered. The dismantling began immediately. Dominion command nodes were seized intact. Military AIs were decommissioned under human supervision. Sanction Zero was broadcast publicly, its existence impossible to deny. Species once bound by fear broke ranks. Protectorates declared independence. Former enforcers stood down rather than face human fleets that never raised a weapon yet controlled every engagement vector. The Dominion did not fall in fire. It collapsed under daylight. Weeks later, Rourke stood on Kestrel 9. Terraforming arrays hummed softly as the planet breathed again. New soil spread across restored plains. Atmospheric processors seeded the sky with engineered clouds. Children would return someday. Not soon, but someday. An officer approached quietly. The council accepted your resignation. Rourke nodded. Good. What will you do now? Build, he said. That's harder than breaking. He looked across the horizon where the first habitats were rising, fortified but open, designed not for conquest but permanence. Humanity had changed. Not into conquerors. Not into tyrants. Into something awake. The galaxy would learn to live with that. As Rourke turned away, the sun crested the edge of the world, light spilling across ground that had once been dead. Humanity had come in peace. They had been answered with genocide. Now they endured. And the stars would remember that choice.